Did the Detroit Red Wings make a mistake with this trade? That's what we're going to be answering in today's video. Because right now, as we have mentioned earlier in the show, the Detroit Red Wings are in a pretty tough spot. They no longer control their destiny, and just simply winning the remaining games they have won't 100% guarantee that they make the playoffs. They need to rely on some other teams losing, and they can't be losing all too much themselves. Meanwhile, the Vancouver Canucks are on a different side of the spectrum. The Canucks suck. They are the worst team in the NHL. They've been the most dysfunctional team in the National Hockey League this year, and they are hopefully going to stick around in the 32nd overall spot. And hopefully those 25% odds at first overall prevail, and the Canucks get rewarded for their terrible season this year. With that said, though, I wanted to go over a talking point that was mentioned by Jason Brough, not only on Twitter yesterday, but also on Tuesday morning's edition of Halford and Brough in the Morning on Sportsnet 650 here in Vancouver. It was in the episode, Things Are Going Great for JT Miller's New York Rangers, which obviously is a sarcastic remark at the fact that things are going terrible over there as well. But here's a tweet that sums up what Brough brings up on the program and the idea behind the Red Wings and the Canucks. Brough responds to the post made by the Detroit Red Wings on Twitter 2 days ago that they have reassigned defenseman Axel Sandin-Pellikka to the AHL's Grand Rapids Griffins. Brough goes out there and says, Red Wings fans, does Steve Yzerman take heat for the Filip Hronek trade? Or is there enough promise in Axel Sandin-Pellikka? This is the same idea that Brough brings up on the radio. When he saw that Axel Sandin-Pellikka got sent down, the prevailing thought was, hey, wait a minute. This is the guy that Detroit ended up drafting with the first-round pick the Canucks sent over to Detroit in the Filip Hronek trade. Brough makes the argument on the radio program that if you took these guys and you swapped them today, Axel Sandin-Pellikka would be a young defenseman getting playing time in Vancouver on a team that has a lot of young defensemen with Willander, Elias Pettersson, Mancini, Yves Bouillon. And Filip Hronek would probably be a very solid top 4 defenseman with the Red Wings. Add on to this Justin Falk, and you have a very strong right side. Seider, Hronek, Falk, that's unstoppable. And it's kind of funny because I was listening to this audio while I was on my nightly run, and while I was circling around the track, I was like, wait a minute, that's actually a really good point. Axel Sandin-Pellikka, for as good as he projects to be, I know a lot of Red Wings fans are excited for him, but he didn't just get sent down, and I think the common response to that move a few days ago was, okay, well, that's fine, because the Red Wings are not going to be playing ASP all too much anyway, and so when you think about the development standpoint, it's like, yeah, well, give him more time in the AHL where he can totally dominate, he can be a force, he can do what he needs to do. And the Red Wings are not necessarily going to downgrade too badly because the minutes weren't going to be there for ASP anyway with the addition of Falk. Just have a guy like Travis Hamonic or whatever, or a Jacob Bernard-Docker eating third pair minutes on the right side. That's like a reasonable idea, isn't it? But then again, when you think about Filip Hronek in Vancouver, it's like he's a guy that we all understand is very valuable to this team. He is the best defenseman on the Vancouver Canucks nowadays. He's a good leader, by all accounts. He doesn't take any BS from the media. He plays his game. He's been scoring points. There's a lot to like out of Filip Hronek, but it's a lost season in Vancouver. And if you're going to go down the entire path of rebuilding full scale, you probably envision a scenario where Filip Hronek is traded. I know the Canucks have been hesitant to fully dive into that thought process as they want Filip Hronek's leadership to mentor the young guys, and I think that's a fair perspective as well. But the question is, if you're able to get a top 10 pick, for example, out of Filip Hronek, do you do it? I mean, you want to talk about 5-year rebuilds, this would be a move that would help you out tremendously in that respect. And Filip Hronek, I mean, we love the guy here, but he's 28 years old. Meanwhile, if you switch back over to the Detroit Red Wings point of view, I think the common idea between both of these fan bases for a good number of years was that, hey, Vancouver is competitive. They've got Quinn Hughes, they've got JT Miller, they've got Garland, they've got Filip Hronek, and they're making the playoffs, and they're doing damage, and Pettersson's getting 80 points, and Miller's getting 100. Filip Hronek is a good part of a good team, and this is what they needed. Meanwhile, Detroit, they're in a rebuilding phase. Axel Sandin-Pellikka will head into the future, and that's also what Detroit needed. I think that was the narrative that we had heard about this trade and the result of the trade for multiple years. But now, in 2025, 2026, things have literally flipped up on their heads. Filip Hronek is on a bad rebuilding team, and Axel Sandin-Pellikka is on a team fighting for their playoff lives. Right now is the moment, the first moment over the past few years that the Filip Hronek trade had been completed where we could actually say, wait a minute. I think both teams actually have reason to regret that trade. At this point, 2 years ago, it wasn't the case, because Axel Sandin-Pellikka was awesome, and then a lot of Red Wings fans wanted to see him do well, and it was like, yeah, he's going to be an amazing player, we're happy to have him, we're rebuilding, we're focused on the future, and Vancouver was focused on the now. They made the playoffs, and they made the second round. They were one game away from the third round. Oh yeah, Filip Hronek's going to help out more with this version of the Canucks than ASP ever would. But now we're in an opposite world scenario. Vancouver's the rebuilding team. Detroit is the playoff team. And I just wonder, if that trade never went down, if Vancouver got Axel Sandin-Pellikka, yeah, things would be way different when you think about the playoff run and what the team looks like after that, whom it is Quinn Hughes plays with over the next few years. And if Detroit kept Filip Hronek, it probably would have been hurting their draft odds. He's a good enough player that you could probably win a game or two with Filip Hronek single-handedly, and who knows what kind of prospects the Red Wings end up getting. I mean, it's not necessarily like the Wings were having super high picks from 2023, 2024, 2025 anyway, but I do kind of wonder if they just had Filip Hronek on the organization the entire time, would they have gotten back to the playoffs sooner? And if you're talking about this season, you look at that D-core with Justin Falk, with Moritz Seider, with Bernard Docker. If you just have Filip Hronek instead of JBD, then is that an even bigger addition than we have made it out to be? And Bruff's idea that he brought up on the radio and on Twitter, I think, is the most fair thing you could bring up these days in regards to Vancouver and Detroit. A lot of people have gone out there and responded to his question because Bruff literally asked, does Yzerman take heat for the Hronek trade? A lot of folks are saying not really, because a lot of people can't really separate what Steve Yzerman is as a general manager versus what Steve Yzerman was as a player and the legacy that he had as a legendary Red Wing, the captain, a Stanley Cup winner, and all these things. It's going to overshadow whatever errors or faults he might have as GM of the team, and he's always going to have a lot of leeway. He's going to have a lot of grace. There's always been this idea of, oh, you have to just wait. The Yzer plan is working. We just got to give it time. It's not going to happen right away. Well, I hate to break it to you, but Steve Yzerman's been with the Red Wings since 2019 as the GM, for crying out loud. And the team's still not really guaranteed to be making the playoffs. Now, of course, if they win out, they have a less than 1% chance of missing, but still, there is no 0% that they miss scenario. They have to go out there and win at least 6 games of their remaining 11 to give themselves the best odds. So ultimately, we'll wait and see. But I'll tell you this right here, a guy like Filip Hronek, he probably would have a very good impact on what the Red Wings are right now, and I'd say that Axel Sandin-Pellikka probably looks good in Canucks colors. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Filip Hronek trade regret scenario. Is this actually a thing? Do you think it's reasonable? If you could undo the trade, if you're a Canucks or a Red Wings fan at this stage, would you do it? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.